Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. Monster Hunter Wilds has been a fantastic addition to the beloved franchise, and the only thing that tops the quality of its combat and world are the dedicated men and women who played a part in its making. Today, we've got a very special guest whose voice has graced both video games and animated series over the years. She's a voice actor, comedian, musician, singer, and writer, and she's darn good at all of them. We'll get back to just how awesome she is in a minute, but first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, his talents include walking, blinking, and breathing, and being an all-around awesome guy. It's John.
Hey, I got a little bit of love there, man. I appreciate it. I don't oversell my talents. It really took a lot
for me to throw that last line in there, John. I'm not gonna lie.
You're so generous, Josh. I really appreciate it.
I know. Oh man. And joining us, most recently, she's the voice of Olivia from Monster Hunter Wilds, and you've heard her in games such as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Spider-Man 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, and, well, just lots of games and shows. A whole bunch. It's Alicyn!
What's up, guys? Thank you, Josh and John, for the warm welcome. It's great to be here with you all in person.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Real pleasure.
Yeah.
We're just in the same room, actually, just on three different cameras.
It's just three different cameras.
Awkwardly, three different cameras.
Okay.
Right? Oh, Alicyn, it is super awesome for you to join us. I mean, we are really excited to have you on the show. So number one, thank you for, giving some of your time to come on here and chat with, us goofballs. We're going to talk a little bit about Monster Hunter Wilds. We'll talk about some of the other work that you've done. We're gonna throw some kind of quick fire questions at you as well, so that everybody can kind of get to know you a little bit more. Also, so this is going to be a good episode. So thanks for joining us on this.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Hi, everybody out there. It's good to meet you as well.
Hi, Alicyn. That was everybody collectively replying to.
Oh, okay. That's like
I'm the voice of the people, John? Everybody.
Okay, the voice of the public. There you go.
Voice of the voiceless.
So Alicyn, we have to just kind of start off because you have had an amazing career. I actually it's funny because I knew who you were before we ever even started talking about having you on the podcast. And that is very true. And I'm not just saying that because you're on the show, but I have seen some of your work in the past. I've seen your social media and stuff like that. And it's just, it's kind of neat to see the path that people have and the journey that they go on and stuff like that as well. And the fact that it mixes so much into, our the hobby of gaming for us is just kind of a really neat thing to see. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of start off on is that you've done what a lot of people dream about. And not only have you done it, but you've actually made quite a name for yourself, as a voice actor. And you got to be in Monster Hunter Wilds, which is crazy. Right? So my first question to you is, what was your excitement level like when you got that call that said, hey, we want you to voice Olivia in Monster Hunter Wilds?
I mean, it was crazy. I was familiar with the franchise Monster Hunters, and I didn't know they were doing a new game. Often when we're auditioning for projects, we get sides that give no indication of the project, no indication of the game. They're just kind of more general, just so that the casting can get an idea of people's acting abilities. So you never know when what you're auditioning for. So when I got the call from my agent, I was very excited to see that I'd be working with Jonathan Klein, who was a director I'd worked with previously on a Capcom game, another Capcom game. And then when I heard it was Monster Hunters, I was just over the moon, I think it's about time for them to, come out with a next-gen system game for this, and I'm just so happy with how it came out.
Yeah, it's one of those things you always try to envision, what it's like for somebody to kind of get that call to say, hey, here is something awesome that we want you to be a part of. And that kind of initial reaction is always a fun thing. Cause like, I know a lot of people, it would come with like a lot of anxiety, like there's some excitement, but then it's like, oh my goodness, like I really got to step up for this, that kind of thing where, I think there's a wide mix of emotions there.
Yeah.
But
Well, the good news with video games is you often work very closely with the director. And so, it really is a collaborative process and you're definitely not in it alone. Although there's definitely, numerous sessions and many hours of recording under the belt for this one.
yeah, I can imagine. So listen, we normally we save these questions for a little bit later in an episode, but we thought it'd be kind of fun to just start off with these kind of like, we're just going to call it like quick fire questions for you, not to put you on the spot, but this way it's a good way for our listeners to kind of get to know you a little bit more. And honestly, they're just kind of fun too. So.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to fire off some questions to you. And the goal is to answer these as simply as possible. We don't want to get in the weeds on these. So even if it's a 1-word answer, it's supposed to just be quick. Okay. So I'll start off. John and I will take turns on these here. So, all right, here we go. What's harder, yelling and grunting in an epic combat scene or having a believable laugh on command?
I think the yelling and grunting. Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, if you're yelling and grunting for hours, it is going to take some wear and tear on your voice.
It's true.
But
this is coming from the person who's just casually a singer in a band too. Like amongst all the other things she's doing, she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm like a lead singer in a band. I got this."
I was thinking more about like the Rose from Call of Duty sessions.
Oh yeah,
those. Certainly, the physicality gets challenging, but. You did bring up an interesting point, Josh, and it can be very tricky to laugh on cue. You have to really make sure that you're there mentally in the believability of the imagination, or it's going to sound like, ha, 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 ha,
yeah. Like somebody that just told a really awkward joke in a room and people are like, I think I'm supposed to laugh at this.
It's like Ryan's regular laugh. Alicyn, if you had to choose one of your characters to adopt their voice for the rest of your life, who would it be?
Oh, gosh. Maybe Jibanyan from Yokai Watch, because I just think it would be hilarious to walk around all day being like, Boys of Fury!
She did the voice!
Imagine if, like,
that's awesome!
Yes. That'd be so funny.
Oh, okay. You would get a lot of people with that because they'd just be like, what is that? I like this, but I don't know what's going on here.
I feel like the other moms at school would think I was a little weird, though.
Yeah, libraries would be awkward.
Yeah, that's true too. All right.
Where's nonfiction?
Oh man, librarian would be like, "What are you doing?" All right. What reality show do you think you'd have the best chance of winning?
Oh God, I don't think there's any reality shows I actually watch.
Which one would you want to be on? Let's alter
maybe
it.
Like Amazing Race or something like that.
That would be so much fun.
The Amazing Race, which I only have an idea of what the show's about, but I think it's like adventure, right? And they go on all these adventures. Yep. That's fun.
You and a buddy like go like on a big what do you call it? Scavenger hunt across whatever. Yeah,
that
sounds awesome.
Fun. I would choose Amazing Race.
It looks incredible, but I have a fear of heights, and they're always making people bungee jump or do something crazy where I'd just be like, yeah, I'm real good up until that point. So
I have the most.
Get away from Josh. He just vomited on the ground.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's just like daily for Josh, though.
No. I'm not scared of anything else. For the record, it's my only fear.
Alicyn, this is probably the most important question, and so I may have a follow-up.
Okay.
Waffles or pancakes?
Well, my husband makes really good protein pancakes. So
I love a protein pancake.
Kodiak chocolate pancakes.
Yes, that's like my dessert. That's what I do for dessert. Yeah, I make a big old giant, it's like a giant cookie at the end of it. Okay, so follow-up question.
You're going to send me that recipe.
Well, it's just Kodiak pancake mix and additional chocolate chips, basically. It works for me. What is the best pancake topping?
Ooh.
I mean, it's gonna sound basic, but I can't have pancakes without butter.
Yeah, butter's the right answer. Yep.
See,
Butter.
I'm a purist.
those.
Maple syrup. Like I like all the other stuff. It's not a slander against, fruit toppings and whipped cream and all that, but like a good maple syrup on a pancake is just peak for
These
me.
Kodiak cakes, they got chocolate chips in them. You don't even need. It's just
Yeah. Well, it just in general, I don't know. Syrup's a little too much for me for some reason. I've never been a
Well,
syrup
it's
person.
intense.
Yeah.
It's like you got to be ready for the day.
Oh, see, no, mine's swimming in it. I mean, I've had people look at me like legitimately and be like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, if it's not soaking wet, I don't want
Oh
it.
wow. Like I said.
Okay. All right,
Josh's
here we
10
go.
years
On to the next one here. If you could time travel to any period of history and you had to live there for 5 years, which would you choose?
Mm. I think this is a tough question, but right off the top of my head, I think like the 1920s, like the roaring 20s in America,
Cool
like
That
fashion.
sounds fun.
speakeasies,
time.
women kind of wearing short skirts and getting their right to vote and all that. And I think that sounds like a really interesting and also really like the fashion of the 1920s was very fun and quirky. And
The fashion and the music of the 20s was amazing. But
yeah,
the purpose of a speakeasy is to have an illegal place
right.
to go drink alcohol. So that
That's true.
sucks.
Right. That's true.
Which is funny that they're such a popular thing now, too.
And well, also you think the Roaring '20s, oh, they were so hopping, and then you realize, but wait, that was totally prohibition. The whole '20s
Yeah.
was prohibition. Prohibition was like what 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They did not want people having a good time back then. That's for sure.
No,
Crazy.
no. Alicyn, out of all the characters you played, who do you think would survive longest in a zombie apocalypse?
Rose, definitely. Oh, I don't. Olivia, maybe.
I was
It's
going
gonna
to
be
say
tough.
there's got to be a little recency bias there.
Rose has more guns, which maybe I think behoove zombies because you don't want to get too close.
But you run
If
out of
there's a
ammo
mistake,
eventually.
you do run out of ammo eventually.
Olivia's got that close quarters
Mhm.
combat going.
Yep, that's true.
You got to
Gotta
pick
pick
one. Who you going with?
I'll go with Olivia.
All right, there you go. See, it's a good choice. I've always said a katana is the
Oh,
best weapon
you
in a
guys
zombie
wanna see
apocalypse. I do.
What?
No way.
Me thinks you so for the listeners who can't see what's going on right now, she has a gigantic monster hunter weapon that
Yep.
she certainly stole.
Did
I'm
you
gonna-
steal? Look, you're
Little
safe with
topic.
us. Did you take that? Because we won't tell.
No, my friend Brandy made this. Isn't it incredible? She made this.
Wow,
I'm creating a Olivia cosplay.
That's awesome.
that is
So I am
amazing.
That's gonna be a
very,
hit at
very slowly
cons.
working toward it. Oh, guess what else I have here for those that can't see it? My friend Cody made this for me. It's 3D printed. This is on Olivia's belt.
That's
I
the
found
light,
medallion that hangs so
right?
yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Cool or what?
See, I geek out over all these props, and I love
Yeah.
cosplay. Like, it's so much fun. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can see, but I have like Kratos' Blades of Chaos on my back wall, and I
Nice.
dress up as Kratos whenever we go to a con and stuff. It's
I
so
hope I
much
get to
fun.
come to a con in Phoenix and meet you guys.
Hey, Fan Fusion
Yeah,
in
Fan
June.
Fusion.
It's
June. Oh, that's
huge
coming
now.
Right up though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, June 5th, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So that's
Do-
when it
do you
is. And
still
it is
get-
a massive con.
Do you still get like sensory overload when you? I imagine you've been to a bazillion cons. Do you still get sensory overload when you go to those, or is it kind of routine at this point?
I wouldn't say I get, I'm an extrovert that feeds off that energy. I really
Even con
like-
energy.
It depends on the con. And
Yeah.
it depends on like if I've done some that were too slow or like I was slow and then it's like you're just hanging around waiting. You're like, I could be in the forest right now. I could be
Yeah.
spending my weekend. I like to be grounded with nature as well.
It's a
But
good thing you live in
yeah, I mean,
California.
the last one I went to was such a blast. It was so fun. So yeah, a lot of times I'm just like kind of buzzing with like that positive vibes that everybody gives off. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
what about
Yeah,
you, John? Are you sensory overload?
Um,
I'm guessing
kind
by
of
the nature
perpetually. I sleep 2 to 3 hours a night, so there's always some level of my reality that I'm like navigating, like that's
How are
some
you
level of
awake? How
discomfort.
are you alive?
That's what we ask every day.
Are you-
Bro,
honestly.
yeah. A lot of
that real?
coffee.
For real?
Yeah. Oh
Every
yeah,
day?
that's it. Yeah, like 2 to 3 hours of sleep for years now. Yeah. Yep.
What's going on?
Uh,
Have you seen your doctor?
people have all heard
Yeah.
this story. No, I have kind of always been not a great sleeper, and then I did mixed martial arts and jujitsu for a long time, and I have like spinal arthritis, and
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean everyone has
Hmm.
their stuff. I function pretty well given limited sleep, but yeah, I mean it's a hassle.
Well, you
Anyway,
look great. And for those that can't
thank
see,
you.
John, you look fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
This is
No
all
eye bags or
AI.
anything,
This is the
man. Yeah.
best AI can do for me.
John's got the filter on like maximum strength right now.
This is full Kardashian filter right now. This is the
Yeah.
best you get.
Nice.
I'm with you, Alicyn. I'm an extrovert to the core, and being around tons of people just super energizes me. You know, I definitely get like my legs are killing me by the end of the day because we've been walking 20,000 steps and stuff like that. But I just love being around a bunch of people that are all having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I really enjoy them.
okay, let's fire another question off at you here. Have you ever accidentally talked in a character's voice during normal life?
Please say yes.
Yeah,
please
just-
say
I'll just
yes.
like, instead of saying thank you at Starbucks, I'll be like, happy hunting.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah, not-
God. You'd
you
be
know,
getting
I-
free Starbucks forever for me.
The funny thing is, my son is actually a voice actor as well. He's
What?
been on Baby Shark and a couple other shows, and so him and we are constantly talking in character voices.
I love
Like this
that.
character, Baby Mommy. Just like-
Hi, I'm baby. It's baby mommy. No, put on your song, baby mommy, please.
Wow. My gosh, that's amazing.
you know, or just like we'll just be like rough out and be like,
Hey, Bodie, what are you doing?
you know, it's just like it's kind of our love language.
I love it.
So yeah, that's a lot of fun. But I don't think, you know, not accidentally. It's not like I just open my mouth and-
Intentionally, but yes, joking around.
So I have to ask, there's an impression that being an actor is hard. It's extremely competitive, lots and lots of auditions, lots and lots of time. And so you
Yeah.
mentioned your son is now a voice actor.
Mhm.
Do you not like your son? Is that why you like have allowed him to get into this, or like?
It's different. It's different for kids because it's less competitive because there's just not as many kids that do it. And he doesn't get, I might get 7 to, anywhere from 5 to 12 auditions a day. I mean, sometimes that's usually the high end, but sometimes it can
Whoa,
even be
wait,
more
back that up. A
day.
day?
A day.
Like just any old given day?
Yeah. Like, so today I only had 5. 6.
Only,
I only had 6.
only 5.
And that was a little bit of a shorter
Wow.
some of them. But I mean, I auditioned for commercial, animation, promo, video game. I'm really lucky because I have a pretty versatile voice, so I can work in all the different formats of voiceover. I've definitely spent time studying each one because commercials are very different read than a video game. But it's the versatility that really gives you the longevity to be able to have a career doing this and be able to support yourself enough to keep investing in your career and classes and coaching and equipment, studio and all those pieces that it is to run a small business. But yeah, some people do tremendously well. Like some people that have naturally sounding kids' voices, their speaking voice sounds like a kid. They tend to book more kids for animation, but sometimes it's harder to be like,
Prudential.
Yeah.
it's like if you sound, it's harder from, they may have a more naturalistic kid's voice, but
They don't have a range.
less versatility. So,
Yeah.
there's pros and cons of both. You just kind of have to do the best you can with the pipes that you got.
I think that you were probably like a really annoying child who was like just had all these voices anyways, and you're like, I got to figure out some way to make money with this. Is that
When I was in high school, I was on the radio club. And we did a morning
now
announcement.
okay.
And it was another guy in the radio club that was like, you could do voiceover because I always wanted to be an actor. And so I think I was doing theater, musical theater, and then I'd done a little bit of on camera, but, like local commercial for the restaurant I worked at and like a couple things. And then I went to, when I came to college, I went to Emerson, I was already aware that that was a job. So I kind of had a leg up in a sense of I started going after it at a young age. And again, the younger you are, the less competition there is.
Mm.
So I kind of just booked my very first job, which was great and gave me the confidence to keep going. Yeah. 20 years later.
You touched on something that is honestly kind of fascinating. So I want to ask about it, to be honest with you, because we have talked to a couple other voice actors, and it is that anxiety of trying to do an audition, book a job, that kind of thing, working with various people and stuff like that. But you touched on the small business aspect,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that, like, I mean, it kind of caught me off guard. Where it is if you are a voice actor and you see success in that role, you are like your greatest asset in that case, and so to be successful in that field would require that you look at that as a business in a sense. And I think people go, I got a job, like I got a gig, like this is amazing, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But like when you get to a certain level, you have to have that business mindset to say, like, I am managing me, I am managing my talent and putting it out to the world. Like, what is that like? Because I don't think we think about that, to be honest with you.
I thought it was all like limousines and mimosas and stuff. Is that not accurate?
There's definitely a couple mimosas.
Yeah.
People don't really ride limos anymore. More like flat cars. But
Yeah.
there is the famous story of Don LaFontaine, who is the famous movie trailer voice actor, who sadly passed away. But he would be driven from studio to studio in a limousine every day.
Are you talking about the Inner World? That guy?
Yes.
Wow. Mm.
But now mostly we work from home since the
Yeah.
pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, I would go in more than half the time. And
Wow.
now there's a couple shows. There's a show I just wrapped that was in person. Monster Hunter was mostly in person.
Oh, no
I like,
kidding.
I
Wow.
like going in person because there's something about the visceral energy of being in the room with people, especially because most of the time for animation and video games, we are just recording one-on-one with the director. So any opportunity to make magic, to surprise yourself in the scene, to surprise yourself in the moment, that all helps. So whatever magic you can download from playing off the other person, I think is a great thing.
That's a neat thing because I am the kind of person where, and it's one reason, even with the podcast, we always do video so that we can see each other,
Yeah.
and it's like you get to see the body language, the inflection when people are laughing, when you get to see that laughter, it's more infectious and things like that. And I know
Yeah.
that a lot of voice acting is done in a booth. And so a lot of times you are by yourself, and it's like, again, just personal preference. If somebody was like, hey, do you want to come down to the studio and you guys can, meet up and record and go over stuff, like I would jump on that because like you said, I feel like you would just get that energy from that at that
Yeah.
point.
I love it. I mean, commercials, I think it's just fine to do them at home. Although it is great to go in and chat with the engineer. A lot of times the ad agency and or whoever's directing you is not there in the room anyway, even if you were in studio. So that's fine. But there's a magic that happens, and we're creating art here. It's not a science. So I think take any opportunity you can to play off other people and really be in the moment. I find since the pandemic, I'm working from home more than I ever have.
Yeah.
Being home is distracting.
Yeah.
Being home is more distracting probably than being in a coffee shop because you're looking around and like, oh, I got to clean up my little guy. Like, oh, well, here's the scrunchie. What, here's my phone. Oh, the biggest tool of mass
Oh, yeah.
distraction.
Yeah.
And, so I welcome any opportunity I can to get out of this box.
Yeah. It's funny. A lot of people say that. They say working at home is actually harder than going in because you dedicate, like when you go to an office or a place, you get in that work mindset. But when you're home, it's very hard to like say, okay, well, I'm going to focus on work. But then you've got, the kids playing, the dog's running around, something's going on. You're curious as to what's happening and very easy to get distracted in that way. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Alicyn, listen, we are a gaming podcast, so we've got to talk about some video games with you here.
Yeah.
Just that it happens to be, a very recent game, Monster
Like
Hunter
one of the
Wilds.
biggest games ever.
Yeah.
Are you guys enjoying it? Are you playing? Are you kids playing?
We have actually a lot of people in our community that have been absolutely enamored with it. I played Monster Hunter World back in the day, but I have not gotten a chance to play Wilds yet. But it is absolutely on my radar as well.
What are you doing this weekend?
I know, right? Yeah, there's Marvel Rivals season 2 is coming out. So.
The weekend after then.
Yeah, right. There you go. So let's chat games just a little bit here. With Monster Hunter, it's a massive franchise. Are you familiar with it? Have you played these games like prior to getting into Wilds and your work with them?
I watch a lot of the gameplay on YouTube. That's how I get my downloads, and I have a lot of friends that are gamers, but it's really hard for me to balance my time. I have so many hobbies.
It's only 8 to 12 auditions a day, Alicyn. Come on, step it up. Lazy.
It's more just like even just, staying in shape is the whole thing. And then
Right.
I play guitar and ukulele. I sing and I write songs is my like what recharges me and fills my soul. But my son's been starting to get into video games, and so we're balancing that with ease and grace. Thought about getting a PS5 or an Xbox just so we could play. But yeah, maybe Christmas, maybe the holidays.
It is so tough to balance a busy career and then people think video games take up a lot of time, and they do. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I'm lucky in that I don't watch very much TV. A lot of times people kind of go and they wind down at the end of the night and they sit on the couch and they watch TV. I crave that like interaction. I want to be doing something.
Yeah.
So for me, video games are actually how I relax at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But, there is absolutely that valid thought that it's like these take up a lot of time because I have this goal that I have to accomplish with gaming. I have to beat this game or get to the end of it or something like that as well. So, it's one of those things where, you said you watch a lot of video and stuff. Is that how you prepare? Like, do you familiarize yourself with a franchise and kind of like listen to some of the voice acting in the previous games and say, okay, like we've got this vibe? Or do you just say, this is me, this is what I'm going to do, and kind of hope that it fits in? Is this where a director comes in with you? Or?
That's where the director comes in.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, something like where they're adding much more dialogue or, it's much more actor heavy, this version, so, so the director kind of helps guide you. But like I mentioned, you're cast off not knowing the project. So it's not like I could try to do it in a Monster Hunter style. So I kind of just came in and based on the specs, did my best take. And Olivia is very cool. She's a really cool role to play. I've been loving, fans have been creating all kinds of fan art and messaging me. And so I love that people are having a positive response to her.
I think it's crazy when you see these franchises that are so like global in a sense, like everybody knows Monster Hunter, like whether you've played them or not, you've heard of them, you've heard your friends talking about them.
Or what
and
language.
I think sometimes people lose sight of the fact that it's like, there are millions and millions of people that are playing these games and loving it. And not only are they playing it, but they're playing it with their friends, so it's like now you have that interaction there as well. And, especially with gaming, some of these franchises are iconic. Monster Hunter is one of them, but you hear people talk about Halo, Call of Duty. You have experience doing voice acting for Call of Duty. Yep. And it's like, these things are global. Like my parents who are in their 70s know what Call of Duty is. They've never played one, but it's like they know of it. So that's
Right, they're
incredible. It really
ubiquitous.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Alicyn, I have to ask, so like Monster Hunter is a game that's known for like crazy over the top action. It's a very action heavy game. When you are getting ready to voice or audition for something like this, and it's just lots of like guttural sounds and responses and stuff, does voicing something like that, does knowing that you're going to voice something like that, does that amp you up? Do you end up getting more animated in the booth and stuff?
I mean, I think each scene just calls for a different level of physicality. And so, for example, when I was working on Call of Duty, I would be like on the ground. We also had
Shooting people?
a Scully cap with those microphones are just
Oh,
right
the
there. I would, if I
motion
was
capture stuff? Yeah.
just the microphones, so that
Oh, okay.
so you're not tethered to this microphone. Monster
Yeah.
Hunter, we
Like
had
they
that
use in
as
live
well
theater,
as this.
basically.
Right, but there
Yeah.
would be, funnily enough, there was like mannequins kind of in the booth to absorb the sound, so I would use those as my eye lines, and if I was shouting across the room, I would like direct it towards that. You're kind of moving through space. You want to get in there and be as physical as possible. Yeah, it's just kind of each game and each scene is a little bit different. I did Ratchet and Clank, Rift
Awesome
Apart,
games.
a couple different fun characters in there, and that was more like an animated series, some kind of more fun, bigger kind of characters, still grounded, but there was less of that. Although I did play a pirate that was like har yar, slicing and dicing, but yeah, it's so interesting how each project is its own little world, and you want to sink into the world, you want to sink into the character, and just really serve the script and serve the project, and everything's a little different.
So you mentioned that when you audition for these and you get the role, that you don't know what you're auditioning for necessarily, right? Like for this, for instance,
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm doing an audition, and I'm sure that they request either a specific line or a series of lines or something like that. But like when they say, hey, we want you for this, here's the project. Right. And then you go, okay. And that's like, we want you to play Olivia. Like, she's this super strong female character. She's in Monster Hunter. You're going to be fighting these fantastic beasts, and all this. Like, how do you like how much information do they give you? Like, do they say do they give you like a spreadsheet and say, these are all the characteristics of Olivia? Do they say, look, as long as you're gritty and tough, like roll with it? Or like, how do they point you in the right direction on something like that?
I think that starts with casting. They try to cast someone who's the best vocal print and gives off that vibe. And then you work with the director, and they really help hone in that performance to make sure that it's honoring the game and the franchise and the world and the character. But also, we are also honoring the Japanese actors as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's a lot of
because
ways.
I mean that's an interesting point too, because do they try to like do they view them as like completely separate in that case, like the Japanese voice actor and the English voice actor? Is there like do they
Good
try to say,
question.
hey, we have some of the same tone, so that there's not this like huge difference in the inflection and the tone of this character? Is it like, we don't mind at all, like just be the English voice actress for this?
Yeah, I mean, we try to be consistent so that the character is consistent in different. Sorry, I think it's like blowing up right now. Let me put my focus on.
It's okay. We'll
We
wait
try
for
to.
you.
So I do believe they try to make it consistent so that the character globally is expressing the same type of emotion and vibe.
That's so neat. I never thought about that.
Do you ever get the chance to meet or like actually communicate the people that are doing like the other
Not really. Gosh, I
languages?
want to go to Japan and
I
just
know,
meet
yeah.
some of the voice actors
Mhm.
of projects that I've worked on. And I often wonder, I need to do a little research, like if I'm a match for somebody, if someone is the Japanese actress of Rose, is it possible that person's also the Japanese actress of, Jibanyan? Like, if you match someone naturally, their sound, their pitch, their inflection, then it's possible that
That's a
you
fascinating.
match them in other
Yeah.
things as well. like, who's the voice of Black Maria in One Piece? Like, is that also, is she also the voice of anything
This
else
is
I've done?
It's like a
Fascinating to
Severance
think about.
situation going on here, where
Totally.
it's like you've got you've got two people that are actually like voice acting the same roles, but they don't know that the
They'll
other
never
person's
know.
been voice
I've
acting that
met
role.
the
And
Greek Chabanyan. He reached out on social media, and he's a man.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's a really cool thought. Like to just
I know.
So one other question for like, how do you keep this secret? Like you've
Oh,
got to do all this work, you get the job, you've got to be excited. I mean, you've got to be jumping up and down. And then was this all done in 6 months? Was it done in a year? Like, how do you keep this all under wraps?
it took definitely more than a year. I think more closer. It was in 2-year period.
Wow.
And you have
Whoa.
to, that you're signing an NDA and confidentiality, and um, you just really want to make sure that you do not utter a word
Yeah.
about the project because, as you know, video game leaks have been prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and damaging.
I've even heard about voice actors posting selfies in the booth where the script is in the background, reflected off the mirror, and like
Oh.
people
Yep.
zoom in and find the name of the
The
project.
internet
They
sleuths just blow it
figure it
up and
out.
yeah.
So I try to be very careful. I rarely even post boothies, like a shot
Yeah.
in the booth of like working on this, can't talk about it. I just feel like I'll talk about it when it's out,
Yeah.
I
Alicyn,
don't want to
two
jeopardize it.
2 years for this project is really surprising to me. Even for a game as big in scope as something like Monster Hunter, 2 years is incredible. I does that come by what, like, do you get presented with an initial, like, here's the initial script, but you need to be available for like pickup lines, that kind of thing? Like, the game is still evolving, we're still writing things and working out bugs, and we need you to be able to re-record or record new dialogue because stuff is coming up all the time. Like, how does it stretch out to 2 years? Can you help us understand that?
I mean, are you playing? It's in depth. There's
Ye-
yeah,
It's a
there-
huge game.
there's stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like it's not every single day. It's like we're coming in and then we're coming back and things are evolving. So,
Mhm.
but I don't want to share too much. I don't want to,
Yeah,
you
makes
know,
sense.
you
Makes
just
sense.
gotta check it out.
So do
Um,
you ever, like you mentioned that you go to the studio sometimes and you get to work with other people. Is there ever an instance where you are recording like in the same, I'll just say, booth with somebody, so that knowing a little bit about audio,
yeah.
like that's hard to manage, like two microphones in one area with people yelling and shouting and things like that. But it's like, do you ever get that opportunity to say like, we get to like act this out and do this together?
Oh my gosh, it used to be much more common. It used to be the standard. When I started, it was starting to go away, but still occasionally they do group recording sessions, which are the most fun. It's just hard to schedule, I think. So, but the Mr. Men show, which was a show on Cartoon Network that I started out doing, we would do group records, and it was like sketch comedy. So there'd be different sketches they would bring the 2 to 3 to 4 actors that were in each scene in and out, and we kind of shuffle in and out of the booth, and it was so much fun. And I was working with like Katie Lee, who was the voice of Sunny Gummy and like shows that I watched as a kid. So that was really, really cool. I am working on a project right now. It's unannounced, but it's the first group record that that I've done in a long time. So that is very fun. So I can't wait to
That's
tell
got
you.
to add to like I get to go to work. Like I get to go hang out with all
Mhm.
these people. And
Seriously. Oh, yeah, another reason why voice actors love going in person is for the snacks. Sometimes recording
Oh.
studio, different ones have
Craft
different,
service.
like, levels of snacks. Not even crafty, because we, don't get a full crafty, but there'll be snacks sometimes, and
What's your
what is
fa-
the
sometimes
best snack that somebody has had for you?
well, I mean, I try to eat healthy, so it
Yeah.
depends on what degree of commitment I'm in with that. But I love a variety of herbal teas to start. I
Mm.
mean, that's always nice. But if there's like fun cookies and like
You consider tea a
there's one
snack?
recording studio that has a chef.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Lime
chef?
Studios in
Like you can just say like, I would like to order this and they'll make it for
yeah,
you.
you go in and they'll like you get to your session early and they'll be like, "Would you like an omelet? It's still breakfast." Or would you like, yeah, they're like making grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Yep. Keep
There's
them coming,
another
buddy.
side.
Sure,
There is another side to the voice acting world. I'm just getting a glimpse of.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
gotta love Lime.
Right? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Josh, I got to tour the Oculus headquarters in Seattle probably about 5 years ago, and they have the same thing. Basically, what they do is they set up their office so that people don't want to leave, and then therefore just stay there and work forever. You know, if you make,
I mean, I say all this, but I work at a place that's really, really cool like
Yeah,
that. I mean,
yeah.
you hear about like Google headquarters having like, full-time masseuses and like game rooms and nap rooms and stuff
Wow.
like that. And it's like, I get free lunch every day, completely stocked pantries, a refrigerator full of drinks, and
That's like my house.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess I can't
I have a massage
be too
therapist, but I
jealous.
have a cat.
Oh, cats are the
That counts.
best
Just
masseuses
make
ever.
He'll make biscuits on
Oh
my lap.
yeah, the biscuits on the lap is great. I have to kick my cat out because they will insist on being in my lap during recording. Cats are the best. Yeah, unless you're allergic. I have had this fight with many of my friends because they're allergic to cats and they're like, they're little demons, and I'm like, no, they're
Oh,
not.
cats are
If
the
you
best.
die unattended in your home, a dog will wait a little while out of respect for you and love. A cat will start eating you right away.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I don't.
Cats,
I don't know.
domestic house cats are also the most prolific murderers on the face of the planet. They kill more varieties of prey animals than any other animal on the face of the planet.
Okay, I'm that actually my cat have only killed one thing and it
Oh.
happened
That you know about.
I will say my cat is an insane hunter. Like if a fly gets in the house, it is incredible to watch
down.
like him turn into the little murder machine. I have not had to kill a fly in years because if one somehow makes it inside, this cat is like, oh no, you're mine.
Wow.
It's impressive. So
Allison-
and we got sidetracked on cats now.
Do we get sidetracked, guys?
I don't know. I mean, I'm fine having a cat
Well,
podcast too.
I have
you
to
know?
go back to something, Allison. Josh asked you what your favorite snack was, and you said tea.
That is true. You did say tea.
Tea is not
I'm an omnivore, so I don't know what my favorite snack is.
Do you lean more sweet or salty?
Oh, I definitely have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Do you like chocolatey sweets
Yeah.
or like fruity sweets?
Chocolatey.
Chocolatey.
But all, yeah.
Milk
'Cause
chocolate
she's not
or dark
crazy,
chocolate?
John. You know,
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's chocolatey all the way for sure.
Yeah.
is white chocolate even chocolate? I don't-
Yes.
I'm not.
No, it's
I'm not. I mean,
It's not.
I'm not
It's not
turning
chocolate
down
in it.
white chocolate, but it's not. It is the far like inferior chocolate. let's be
Bro,
honest.
have you ever had a white chocolate Reese's peanut butter egg?
No, because I want the good chocolate ones, John. I want the
No.
chocolate peanut butter
Oh.
eggs.
It is like a gift handed down from Zeus on high.
Mana
is like
from
the-
heaven.
It is the most miraculous little gift that the heavens have ever bestowed upon mankind.
And-
I'm serious. Get yourself a 6-pack, put it in the freezer for a couple hours, pop one out, take a bite, thank me later. They're amazing.
And then the people started trying to cover things in yogurt to mimic white chocolate because they're like, people can't tell the difference. It's just a slippery slope, man. I just want chocolate at that point.
Fair.
So,
Now I'm not gonna be able to stop thinking about those. White
Right?
chocolate, white.
Yeah.
Peanut butter.
I've actually heard that from another person that has really terrible food takes too, John. So maybe it's like a consistent
Oh,
thing. 'cause,
come
like, this
on.
person
Josh
doesn't
and I
even
will be
like
over here with
pickles.
our cats
You know?
and our
Yeah,
dark chocolate.
I know. Yeah. At least Allison and I, we know. Yeah.
We have excellent taste.
Haters.
Oh man. Listen, so we're running a little low on time, Allison, and obviously we want to respect your schedule as
Thank
well.
you.
But one of the things, and this is, I love this because as a dad, as a person with a full-time job and a hobby that takes up a lot of time, and I know that you have a lot of hobbies, and we need these kind of creative outlets, right? Like we work really hard, we're busy, life
Yeah.
can get chaotic. Being a parent is hard enough. And so you need these things to do to kind of just be yourself sometimes and say, this is how I be creative and this is how I relax and things like that. But with being a mom having a very successful career in voice acting, being a musician, a singer, all these things, like, how do you balance that?
Well, I'm addicted to a planner,
Mm,
I also definitely have some ADHD tendencies, you know, um, staying on track is a challenge. Especially when you just love so many things, but the reality is life is finite.
Yep.
And, you want to
preach.
try and get as much. I used to in so much stuff. And like coming out of college, I was like, yeah, I want to win a Grammy and an Emmy and um, unrealistic ideas. But to some level, I have been able to have the experience, create the experiences that I've wanted. And that's really it at the end of the day, because everything's temporary, right? I mean, there is no you've made it. There is no I'm at the top of the pile, because there's always another level to climb up.
Yeah.
So, I now I think about things of what experiences do I want to have in my lifetime? What experiences do I want to have in the next 10 years? What experiences do I want to have in the next 3 years? What experiences do I want to have in the next year?
Are you
What
able to
experiences?
share what some of those might be?
I
What's
wish I had my
what's
planner with me off the top of my head.
There's got to
You
be
know,
some big thing
well,
though.
that I'm working towards. I mean,
Well,
one of my
yeah.
biggest things is like just I want to be an amazing mom. That's like a lifelong goal. Just voicing iconic characters, continuing to do that. I'm also a songwriter, and so I would really, I have some specific goals around how I want to be creating my music and putting it out in the world. But it comes down to, what do I want to experience every day? Like, what are the habits that I'm trying to create? And for me, that's like exercising almost every day, um, having a freedom of time to be able to create and the things. So, like, for me right now, it's the habit of creative writing, that leads to like lyric development and songwriting, and being able to have the freedom to say yes to different experiences. Travel is a big one. I would love to live nomadically at some point in my
Mm,
life and be able to just really experience other cities. I mean, we are kind of LA bound, at least for a chunk of time. But at some point, the world is getting more
accessible.
mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that's important to me. I
Is there a place like
enjoy
at the top of your list that you'd like to go? Like if you
that I
could
like
just
to
like snap
visit
your
or
fingers.
live. Oh,
We'll say visit to begin with.
I mean, I'd really like to go to Italy. I've never been to Italy. I really like to go to Japan. I had a friend that just got back from Japan with her kids, and I was like, tell me everything. Um, yeah, but Costa Rica is one of my favorites. Mexico
Oh,
City is one of my favorites.
Mm.
I have been to
Um,
Costa Rica. I haven't been to any of the other ones,
where'd
but
you
I have been to
go?
Costa Rica. Guanacaste, so the
Okay.
West Coast. That's where my
West
wife and
Coast.
I actually got
Ooh.
married. So we got married on the beach in Costa Rica.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it was incredible. I would love
Oh,
to go back
Yeah.
for sure.
I've been to Japan and Italy and Costa Rica for that matter. And Italy, if you get the opportunity, most people
yeah.
start in Rome. I highly, highly recommend starting in Verona. It has
Okay.
most of the wonderful things that Rome does, arguably better food and way, 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 way less people.
Okay. I'm
In
gonna hit you
Japan, you
up,
can't go wrong.
John, when I'm headed to
Yeah.
Verona.
I've seen the photos John has, and it
Yeah,
looks
I'm
really
lucky.
awesome.
I have family there that we
Oh,
we abuse our
sounds great.
privileges way too
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Oh man. So it's interesting that you talk about the experiences, because, not to get, too deep, but as we get older, like you
Yeah.
said, we kind of go through this period in life where we want to see success, right?
Yep.
Like you said, you wanted to win a Grammy and an Emmy and these sorts of things. And that's great, and it drives us for a long time, but then as we get a little bit older, we kind of start to go like, these goals have changed. Like, my goal is the experiences in life, because like you said, you do start to realize that life is finite and you only have a certain amount of time. And if you don't take the time to do these experiences, then you won't have the memories from those. And then, you know, you only get the one chance at life. And it's funny because it reminds me of my mom, who is in her 70s, that got her first tattoo like a year ago.
Oh my God.
She just went and spent 5 months. Yes. She just went and spent 5 months in Alaska
Great.
by
5 months.
herself.
Oh, wow.
By herself, 5 months in
So
Alaska.
cool.
She's soon to book a skydiving trip.
I must meet this woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
that is
skydiving. Oh my God.
awesome.
I think she and my mom would get along.
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, but it's neat to see because she is in that phase where she is going, look, I have a limited amount of time and there's these things that I want to do in life and I'm
Yeah.
going to do them.
One
And
life.
I
Yep.
love it. Yeah. I mean, you know,
As far as we know.
people, yeah.
Well,
People
right,
take it for
sorry,
granted.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
Yeah.
So,
One that I'm consciously aware of at this very
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
all right. So one more question for you, Alicyn, because you have such a varied career and you kind of have had this opportunity to do so much. Do you have a preference when it comes to doing like anime, an animated series, or video games? I would think it's probably not commercials, but if it is, like, I would be curious as to why. But
Corporate
as
instructional
gamers,
videos.
I mean, but sometimes those
Medical
might be the
narration.
easiest thing.
I never
So
done
do you have a preference? Is there something that kind of resonates with you more than the others?
You know, it's like there's seasons of life.
So
right?
variety? Yeah.
I've loved voicing promo, and I got to voice a documentary that's coming out. That was a bucket list item I'd never voiced. I've voiced docudramas. She made me do it, killer things, and those are really fun too.
Yeah, I bet.
Video games are very fun. They can be hard. Commercials can sometimes be hard, or they can sometimes be super easy breezy, which is very nice.
In what way are video games notably hard?
Video games are notably hard in that you don't get the script in advance usually. So you're kind of working off cuff, and you don't often get full scenes or like the context because, you know, stuff will be reused. So it could be, hey, you know, sometimes if you get to do like voice a scene that's already cut and you get to watch it and you're like matching to picture, that's really fun. But sometimes, you know, you're just kind of going in there and you're just going for it. And then there's also sometimes a lot of vocally stressful stuff because, you know, you die a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved doing anime and dubbing and matching to picture. You know, anime fans are awesome. And of course, the kids stuff is super fun too. You know, working on Rugrats and shows on Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
It's like
completely
really fun show.
iconic. I mean, several generations of kids grew up with that
Right?
show. Yeah, that's got to be like a really cool thing to be a part of. And you know, you were Tails too, and you were in Tom and
Yeah,
Jerry.
Tails and Sonic Drone Home, and
Yeah,
yeah, Toodles on the Tom and Jerry show.
Toodles, that's my sign
dad
off.
Oh, no,
My
that's
dad watched it too.
I
Toodles,
saw that
baby.
earlier and I was like, John's
Oh,
going to love
John.
this.
I've fallen into a fortune in canned sardines.
Oh man, that's
Oh.
good. I have to ask. So you mentioned that you were you've been wanting to be an actor your entire life, or you had wanted to be an
Pretty
actor.
much.
Was
Yeah.
there some role that was like catalytic for you? Like you like, oh, that's what I want to do. Was there some role that you saw that got you into it?
It was in the first grade. I got cast as Gretel in Hansel and Gretel, and like, you know, it's kind of just over from there.
Hmm.
I played Annie was a really fun one. I
Oh,
think by
yeah.
that point I was much more comfortable singing on stage. I remember doing The Wizard of Oz in the fourth grade and I was the scarecrow. I was like, you know, so nervous and like just awkward. And my mom was like, you should really make up a dance to go along with it. I was like, I'm 10, you know.
The one thing is scary
I
enough,
can
Mom.
choreograph a dance. I'm sorry. My friend Maggie is a ballerina and she can do that.
Could you
Oh.
juggle while you're doing it too? Like just add a little juggle in there.
No pressure, right? Mhm. But
It is-
yeah.
there's Halloween's one of my favorite holidays, like cosplaying at a con, because that ability to just kind of be somebody else for a little bit, and then you
Yeah.
have the excuse to just be, to be a little out there, to be a little crazy, or
Yeah.
like acting is honestly so much fun. And it's like, somehow I have fallen into this, like, anytime I can play the villain, I will absolutely be
Oh,
the
villain.
villain role.
Yeah.
But it's like, because it's fun. I'm really a nice guy, but it's like that just ability to be like the fake bad
Debatable.
guy is so fun.
Oh yeah.
It's if I can jump out and scare a kid at Halloween, like, that's a good time.
So
Like, so,
totally.
yeah, I get that. So. All right. Well, listen, Alicyn, we want to thank you so much for hopping on with us. This has really been awesome to have you on.
Real treat. Yeah.
It really is. We always say, like, somebody's time is truly the greatest gift that they can give you. And so thank you so much from us and from all of our listeners for hopping on the podcast with us and just hanging out, kind of
It was
giving us
such
some
a
insight.
pleasure, guys. It was great to chat with you, and thank you so much to everybody that's out there listening. Yeah, drop me a line if you like this podcast. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm at Alicyn, Alicyn on Instagram, at Alicyn Packard on TikTok. Those are the two. Don't find me on Facebook, please. Don't make
We're
me go on Facebook.
No, we'll leave links too as well
Yeah.
in the episode description for people also.
Go drop me a
So
line. It's been so great getting to chat with you guys, and we have a lot in common.
yeah, it's fun to just meet other people that are awesome,
Yeah.
and have that passion and that zest for life. And it's not something you see all the time. And so when you do see it, it's really cool to kind of just be
Yeah.
able to chit chat and hang out for a little bit too.
Also,
So
this is the first interview I've done in seriously so long.
What?
Because I have a podcast, Allison's Wonderland, and I interview people
Great
who work
name,
in
by the way.
animation and video games. Thank you. We've been on hiatus for like over a year, just kind of trying to stay sane.
Yeah.
So
manage
it's a
your
lot of work.
300
But I was
other
thinking
careers.
about switching over to we're video podcast. This is my studio. It's actually I can't really turn my but I shoot in here in my recording studio. But if I just did Riverside, oh my God, that makes it so much easier because then I'm not having to edit
yeah,
all 3 cameras and all
Mhm.
that. So
yeah,
thinking about bringing it back this summer
you should.
in this format, you know?
You should. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually checked out a couple of your episodes just to kind of see, because I knew you were doing podcasts. It's so much fun. You get to meet so many
fun, and
awesome people.
In person is great because
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
it's a lot of work and it's
It
sort
is
of not
that.
really sustainable. So this is much easier, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Alicyn, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on the show with us. It's really been a pleasure to chat with you.
Thanks,
You're
guys.
awesome. Love all the stuff that you do. Love your energy,
Thanks,
your
guys.
happiness. It really does come through. It's
Thank
awesome
you.
to see. So, all right, everybody, listen, make sure you check out Alicyn's social media. Go follow her, cheer her on as she continues this awesome path that she's on and the fun that she's having and all that. That's going to do it for this episode. Until next time, happy gaming.
Bye.
In honor of Alicyn Packard. Toodles.
Toodles, baby.